Hello, hello, hello. Nange mbalamusiza banyabune bassebo. Amanya gange nze Nabateregga, and this is the Nakinyuguzi Chronicles. And like I keep telling you, bannange mugenda kunsonyiwa ngezaako nnyo nzije tuwayenga naye embeera y'ensinga mwe mugiraba omuntu olina okubeera ng'oyiiya. It's a really tough time for a lot of people, and all of us that have something to do should be grateful. Now, today, I want to talk about teaching your children tolerance. And by that, I mean for them to not feel that it is okay or because they don't agree with someone or they don't share the same views. We're living in a very polarized world right now, a terrible world where political, religious, tribal, class, all of them are affecting the way we relate to each other. Obuntu bulamu buvuddewo, obuntu bulamu bukendedde, abantu tebakyalina tolerance. People feel the need to attack each other just because that they might be from polar views. We've seen that across the globe, not just here. So I implore you bannange tutandika okuyigiza abaana bange, actually si tubayigirize, tubazeeyo mu kintu kye bayita obuntu bulamu. Bannange abaana baffe tebakyalina buntu bulamu. Nawana e Uganda olw'okuba abantu baawukana mu ndowooza naddala kati mu kiseera kino ekya gavumenti n'obululu ne elections, we have a generation of people that feel that it's okay to be vulgar, to be obnoxious, to abuse other people because they don't agree with them. Bannange abaana baffe ate kiva ku mpisa n'engeri gye bakuza. Eriyo ebintu by'otayogera, erina ebintu by'otayogerera ddala, eriyo ebintu by'otayatulira muntu. Just because someone is not of your political or religious views does not give you license to attack them. I think in the world, the fact that we have different views and the fact that we're different people is what makes us such a rich fabric. Just because they were not taught tolerance or dignity or not given boundaries. Just because the world is, upside down at the moment doesn't mean that we lose all sense of manners, that we lose all sense of humanity, that we start to crucify people because we don't agree with them. Bannange bwe mba mukuza abaana, ekyo ekintu kyalinga kikulu nnyo. Bw'oba tokkiriziganya na muntu, tekigaana mubuuzaako, tekigaana kunyumyako naye ku bintu ebitakwatagana ku nsonga gye mutakwataganako. Because just though you don't believe in someone's views, it doesn't mean that they're less of a human being. We're living in a society now where people feel that they can be abusive, both emotionally, mentally, physically, towards other people because people don't agree with you. But naitwikiriza abaana abalina obuntu bulamu, tukuza abaana abalina obuntu bulamu n'empisa, tusomesa abaana nti tekitegeeza nti olw'okuba omuntu takola ky'oyagala nti you have to get abusive. It's a really bad trait that's going on at the moment, and not just abusive, the vulgarity that's coming out of people's mouths just because someone decides that's not my cup of tea, I don't want to be that. It's a sad state of affairs. We've even seen it in the US elections, and people tend to say, the US is the global leader. I don't believe that. I personally have my own personal views, but what's going on at the moment in the US is reflective of what's going on in the world, and particularly when in Uganda. Bannange tulekerawo kuvumangana. Tuli omuntu omu, ekinabaawo kinabaawo. You can't stop change. And if the time for change comes, it has already been written. But don't destroy people or relationships because you don't agree with them. Ate abaana balabira ku bakadde baabwe. Naffe abantu abakulu bw'oba tokkaanya na muntu nga temukkiriziganya tovuma ng'avuma ensolo omuntu nakeera ku makya okuvuma munne because they disagree on trivial points. Life is so much bigger than that. Life is so much more beautiful than actually latching onto one tiny little bit that makes us who we are, and you go after them. There's so much going on in the world. There's actually, even in Uganda, there's police brutality. There's all sorts of things happening, and people take sides instead of being humane. Humane. Teach children humanity. Bananga ekintu ky'obuntu bulamu kijja tutwala wala nnyo nti ekinaabeera kikyuse oba ekisigadde nga kikyaliwo. You don't have ripple after effects of genocides, of people actually feeling that they're so entrenched in their beliefs that they stop being human, they become machines. Abana tulekera obayigiriza hate because someone doesn't agree with you. Mulekera abo bazadde okudiscussinga ebintu kati ng'ebya politics mu maaso g'abaana n'owemula n'ovuma n'ogamba oyo tajja oyo taddangana wano ebyo ebisosonkole just because someone doesn't agree with you. Teach children tolerance and dignity and teach them to not be prejudiced. Because all we have, humanity, is a very basic, simple thing. It's a choice that you make to be humane. And we're giving that away for simple things. Banange empisa z'abaana muzikoleko mulekerawo. Stop spreading hate in front of our children. Stop calling people vulgar names in front of your children, because that is what they'll take forward. And that is how they'll behave if someone does not agree with them. That is the way they'll deal with it. Teach our children tolerance and humanity. Kino kigenze wala. Tuvumanga n'abantu bakeera ku makya ku Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, to degrade, dehumanize, and abuse each other. And then we say that we're building a better generation, we're building a new global village, when what you've taught them is that it's okay to be ugly inside, to spread hate, to spread terror. Our children live in fear of everything. We live in fear of going to places. We live in fear of diseases. We live in fear of political turmoil. We live in fear. There's so much fear going around. So let's be tolerant of each other. Let's remember that that's who we've got. Let's teach our children to be tolerant of each other regardless of how different they are. Begairidde bazadde bannange. Ensonga eno ejja tutwala wala ate ne mu maaso gye tulaga akaseera kagenda kuzibuwala nnyo. So that's the Nakinyuguzi Chronicles for today. It wasn't just for the parents, it was for every single one of us. Bannange akuume atakuumira mpeewo.